So joined by me today is Timothy Flanders, running back for the Ottawa Redblacks. Timothy has spent a quite bit of time here in the CFL, and he's really established himself as a good running back in the league. And he's gonna have the chance to be the starting running back of the Ottawa Redblacks next season, whenever the COVID pandemic comes to an end, hopefully, and we're back in the stands and we get to watch the Ottawa Redblacks perform at TD Place. And Timothy, he's pretty intrigued to come to Ottawa, and he's excited as well as I am to watch him in Ottawa. So, Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining me on here.
Oh yeah, man. Anytime I get a chance, to pretty much talk to the fans, in a way. I mean, I'm excited to do that.
And so you've been in the CFL for a while now. You started out in Winnipeg and made your way to Calgary as well recently. But overall, you've been on a few teams in the NFL as well. I know you've been with the Saints, the Browns, and a few other teams as well. And just give me a little recap of your career up to this point, and maybe point out some good stories or something along the way.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's see. Let's go back to college. I mean, it won't be long. So I went to Kansas State at a high school. I was there for a year and a half. I was actually there with Will Powell. I mean, he was there, and Brandon Banks. We was all on the same team together. I'm gonna say that August I transferred to Sam Houston. So I was at Sam Houston for the next 4 years. We played in two national championships, both against North Dakota State with old Crockett. We're gonna have to talk about that, you know. We talked before about it, but I mean not like in person. But we lost to them twice, back-to-back years. Went to New Orleans. 2014 went to New Orleans. I went to the NFL Combine. Went to New Orleans. Got a chance to play alongside Drew Brees, a couple of other guys. Fun thing about Drew, when my son was born in June 5th, my son was born in 2014. I actually came down to Texas for it like the week prior. I mean, he was born like a week later, something like that. So I get back. He was born while we was at practice. I think one thing that I will remember from Drew, just him telling me congratulations and stuff like that, and then so that was New Orleans 2014. And then that fall, I played in the FXFL, some startup league. Actually, me and who was one of my teammates, Deverell Walker, we was teammates there. And then 2015 comes around, I go to Cleveland. So I was with the Browns. And then after Cleveland, I went to BC. BC was it was Calgary first. I was with Calgary in the spring. Then I went to Cleveland, and then it was BC. So I was in BC, and then that following year is when I signed with Winnipeg, and Winnipeg until now. Within Calgary last year, 2 years ago, I guess, a year and a half, whatever, and then Ottawa now.
And I love how you have to say like last year, and then you have to correct yourself because
Yeah.
it feels like last year, but it's been over a year since we've actually been able to see some CFL football. So even going back to your, I think, university, you mentioned you played against Crockett, and was his quarterback Brock Jensen at the time, or was that Carson Wentz over at North Dakota?
It was Brock. Yeah, Brock was the quarterback both years, actually.
So you've been able to see some CFL guys in college as well, and even you mentioned Darrell Walker. So you were kind of introduced to the CFL squad before you even got to the CFL.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what happens a lot of the time. Like guys know each other, and then they end up either playing with each other or playing against each other. Just how small the world really is, because football, everybody knows everybody in a way, and that's something that you kind of see now with you coming to Ottawa. You mentioned that you played with Winnipeg, and in Winnipeg you were coached by Lapo, and here in Ottawa he's going to be the head coach. So obviously, I think you were signed last January or last December, like 2019
Mhm.
December or 2020 January, but you haven't really played a game of football here in Ottawa just because of the COVID pandemic and the non CFL season and all that. But now that you have kind of sat back and looked at maybe some plays in the playbook and watched some film of the Ottawa Redblacks over the last year or so, how excited are you to really come back and play with Lapo?
I'm really excited. I mean, I was very excited. I'm not even gonna lie. I think it was because of the fact that I was kind of, familiar with the playbook, and it was just the opportunity of me just to come and actually, just play and just given that chance. I mean, regardless of the team, everybody wants a chance to play, right? So, but I mean, it just adds to the excitement when you're familiar with the head coach and you know what he wants to do with his offense and stuff like that.
And coming into what we hope is a 2021 CFL season in June, we're going to see a lot of new faces here in Ottawa, and you're going to be one of the new faces for the fans. So, just looking back at what we've seen in your Winnipeg days, as well as some of the Calgary games that you played in, what can these Our Nation fans really expect from Timothy Flanders at the running back position?
I think if you go back to where I actually played in Winnipeg a lot, getting a chance to play running back and then switching to receiver, I pretty much played receiver full time that 1 year, and you just try to build on that. So if you go back and watch and the things that I've done, you build on what you've done in the past, and but the main thing is can I do it now? I mean that was then, so I have to bring that same hardworking mentality to Ottawa, and just help win games. I mean, that's the main thing. My main thing is I just want to win and inspire others around me. Especially like the younger generation, like the kids and stuff like that. So.
And when you do come to Ottawa, we're going to probably have a running back controversy. We haven't really seen that a lot because of, you mentioned you went to school with Will Powell. He was our running back for the majority of the time. And he's
Yeah.
always the 1,000-yard rusher here in Ottawa. And then last year we had Crockett, who you played against in college. And it was kind of like running back by committee because we also had Moses Madu last year, or
Yeah,
2019, I should
Moses.
say.
Moses, we're both from Oklahoma, so I mean, we used to train together a little bit.
Yeah, so upcoming in 2021, it's going to be kind of new because Crockett is a free agent still. We haven't
Yeah.
re-signed him. And we have you and Akeem Hunt in the backfield, along with Canadian Brendan Galanders. So let's say you are the starting running back in 2021. What are some of the goals that you have at the running back position to help out the team?
Um, I think when you go back and look at what Ottawa did last year, I don't think they had not one rushing touchdown by a running back. I mean, granted, you take that for granted because you get down to the goal line majority of the time you can just quarterback sneak it. That makes it a lot easier. But I just want to just add some versatility to the offense. Just help out everywhere that I can. And just me being familiar with the offense, I think that would help out a lot as well. Regardless of who's starting, as long as I'm on the team, I'm going to help the guys know and from what I learned from being in this offense prior.
And I think it's pretty funny that you mentioned that no running back touchdown. I think it was the last game of the year against the Alouettes. It was the home game. I actually was taking pictures on the sideline that game. Chris Hoffley gave me the pass to take pictures that game on the sideline. And I think Dom Davis had 3 rushing touchdowns, and Crockett ran it to the 1. I think on like our last drive of the game, like we didn't have a chance at winning the game, obviously. Like it was, I think, 2-possession game, but we ended up going to the 1-yard line, and Crockett was out of the game, and we brought in Dom to score a 3rd touchdown. And just thinking what Crockett probably was thinking on the sidelines, like he didn't have a touchdown all year. I think his last touchdown may have been with either Green Bay or the Raiders before that. So he was going to finally score a professional touchdown again, and then it was taken from him with Dom Davis's third rushing touchdown of the game. But that was just the story of the 2019 season for us, really, just because 3-15, you don't really get a lot of happy notes on the season. We had a few good games, but we didn't get to close a lot of them out. So having you in the future, as well as possibly Nick Arbuckle at the quarterback position and some new faces like Paul Lapalisse, we should have a pretty good group of offense. So whenever you are looking at our offense, who are some names that you think really pop out at you? Maybe some guys that you've played with in the past. I know you've been in the CFL for a while, and you've probably seen a few guys, or even some guys that you've watched before whenever you weren't in the CFL for a little bit as well.
Being around Nick, just seeing him. I mean, he actually helped me out in Calgary a lot, going to the plays and stuff like that. Watching RJ go from Winnipeg and the receiver that he is now, that's big time. I mean, I kind of saw that in him, while he was in Winnipeg. It was just a matter of time. Who else? Jalen. It'll be fun playing with Jalen. Just that extra dynamic. He's fast. I mean, he was having a great season that he had, and then he got hurt. Bringing in a guy like Coombs. Is he resigned? I think he's resigned, right?
Not yet.
He's not resigned yet? Not yet. Well, hopefully if they get him resigned, I mean, he'll be a big piece. Actually bringing back Crockett as well. I mean, me and John, we talk a lot, actually. I mean, we probably talk like once every other week or once a week or something like that. So hopefully something gets done with that. And also, bringing Coach Wiley in as an offensive line coach, he was in Winnipeg as well. His experience will help out the extra dynamic to the offensive line. He's a big jokester, but I mean, if you just look at it, like overall, I feel like there's guys who got the experience in the CFL, right? So, and there's new faces that's coming in, and and you got Coach Lapo coming in. He's probably going to be calling the plays. So it'll be fun. I mean, it should be a different outcome from last year, which we all hope for. So.
And some of the guys that you mentioned, they're all veteran receivers and running backs that have either been in the CFL or even for Crockett's sake as well. He's been in the NFL like you yourself as well. And we also have a lot of young guys on the team. We have a few young receivers that are probably going to have a bigger role this coming year. So I don't know if you've really been able to look at a lot of film yet of the team of 2019 that are coming back, but what do you think of a couple guys on your offense? Maybe Devontae Dedman. We have Jerminic Smith.
I saw him. He had a good year too because he also returned, right? Then he returned punts and yeah. I saw a couple of film and plays from him last year, just being in Calgary last year. I really haven't had a chance, just to sit down and watch like every Ottawa game. But I did have the chance, just to watch just film in general, especially film from Winnipeg, from Lapo, just bring his film to our guys, just this was at the time where we thinking we're having the season, right? So you're going through the playbook and watching film and stuff like that. But I actually need to go back and watch some of the stuff from Ottawa last year, just to get familiar with some of the guys and stuff like that. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I think we was going to have one of the youngest rosters, not the youngest roster. That I mean, it can go both ways. But at the end of the day, it's football. I mean, as long as guys, you get the hang of the CFL dynamic. For some of the newcomers, and then once you get it, you just try to build, each day, and as long as you can take what you learn from the practice field and take it to the game field, I mean, you should be fine.
Yeah, because I think whenever I looked at our roster, whenever like we were hoping to have a season. I think our oldest guy was Brad Sinopoli, and he's not even that old. Like he seems old because he's been in the CFL so long, but he, compared to like when we had Henry Burris or some other
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
Kyrie Seabear, like he's young compared to them. So we had a pretty young roster going into what would have been the 2020 season, and that was when we were hoping to have a season like you mentioned, and obviously we didn't have one. But no, what have you been really up to since the whole pandemic started, and what have you been doing to stay busy? I know we talked about you being a teacher on the side as well, so what else have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been doing that, and the crazy thing is, I watch film from like colleges. I support like the high school here. Watch their football team, which is, I mean, they're a great, great team in a great district. Probably, yeah, I would say he's probably the best coach in the state of Texas. Probably one of the top in the nation. Watching college, watching NFL. I actually, because I want to coach one day, right? And hopefully it's on the opposite side of the ball. So sometimes I draw up plays or I try to save things. Try to build my own little playbook. So when the time comes, I'll be ready. Just to provide with anybody that needs it. For the most part. But other than that, just being a dad, taking care of my son. That's probably been the best part of it all. Getting to spend all the time that you don't usually get to spend, especially once. They say we did have a season, right? I mean, he probably would have came up for the summer, but then it's that period from August to November where he has school, that you get to miss out on. But I didn't. I didn't get to this last year, so it's kind of fun, just being around and just stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty funny that you mentioned that you're drawing up plays just
Yeah,
for whenever your time comes. And the funny part is that you're a teacher, and whenever I was at school, whenever we were in school, and like we were doing like probably something that I wasn't too interested in, I would probably be writing up some plays as well myself. So
yeah.
if you're a teacher in that class, you'd probably like to see what the playbook would look like.
I mean, that's what I do. I mean, it's fun. I mean, I help. I mean, I wouldn't say I help. Sometimes, I talk to some of these high school kids, especially the athletes. If it doesn't matter the sport, I just give them the insight, going like my journey from high school to college, NFL, CFL, and everything like that, and you just hope to give them that extra motivation. Like I said, I mean, it doesn't matter the sport, right? I mean, it could be women's basketball, men's basketball, I mean, it's just the fact that you just giving them the insight, try to give them some type of blueprint. Is like, okay, well, this is what I did. I mean, I feel like you have a better chance of doing this. You know what I'm saying? Because it's different now, like getting recruited and stuff like that from what it was prior and everything. So
Yeah, and recruiting is something that I've actually gotten into a little bit of the last while doing like I don't know if you've seen my Instagram and my new website, but I've been
yeah,
doing like
yeah,
scouting reports on kind of like the younger guys here in the city of Ottawa because I did a documentary earlier with Sherrod Baltimore of the Red
yeah,
Blacks,
I saw that.
and Jay Rose was a part of it, Abdul Kane. I think Deadman did an interview with it as well, and a few other guys. And it was a cool experience just because I didn't get to meet the coach that we were working with before, but Coach Jean Guillaume, he's like a recruiting guru here in the city of Ottawa, and it's crazy how many guys that he's actually brought to the Division 1 level. And one of the guys actually, he was named the Bruce Irvin Award just today. Akeem Mesidor for West Virginia. He's the first true freshman to win the Bruce Irvin Award, like the best pass rusher in the Big 12,
Hmm.
I believe. So just seeing like the amount of guys from Ottawa that are coming out and talking about recruiting, what would be some of the most valuable points that you would be teaching these guys that they really need to focus on in recruiting and everything?
I think a lot of them get caught up in the big offer, right? Everybody wants the big offer. I mean, great. I mean, it's good. Like I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you get that, you're like set, because then the other offers just fall in line. But if you work hard, I feel like teams, they will come find you. I mean, if you have, say, if I'm a junior and we have that senior in high school that he's getting all the big shots, right? They're watching his film. I mean, why not do something? Why not play every down hard to where when they turn his film on, they see you right there as well, right? I mean, it's little stuff like that. I mean, and then it's all about the fit, for each individual person. Like, don't just go somewhere just because it's that. You know what I'm saying? If you have a chance to go play, I mean, one, the best thing is to get your college paid for, right? That's that should be reason number one. Get your college paid for. Two, you have to look at it. It's like, all right, do I want to play? You go play, but you have to put yourself in a situation to where the coaches really care about you as an individual, right? I mean, there's guys who that you can see that they probably can go to any school because, I mean, they probably have the money just to pay for them, regardless football scholarship or not, right? And if a guy, say if it's a guy who they know they can pay to go to college, right? Football, they don't get the big offer, but they still try to go to a big school and walk on. And I look at it as like, why not take the money that you thought you was gonna spend on college, you go to a smaller school that's gonna, let you play and get a scholarship and use that money, now it's just yours, right? I don't think people like kids and stuff like that think like that now, but I mean that's what you got guys like me and others here for, right? I mean we've been through it. I mean you just go, they be like, hey, well, you went to Kansas State at high school. It's like, all right, well, I mean, I had an opportunity to play too. Like it wasn't just like I just went because that was the biggest offer I had. I mean, I had bigger offers. I mean, that's just where I wanted to go. And then I transferred down to the FCS level, went to Sam Houston. And I think one of the things when I was at the combine, the biggest comment I got from scouts was, for one GM, he was just like, you're supposed to dominate whatever level you're playing at, you dominate. If you feel like you're at a D1 level, but you're playing D1 AA FCS, then show that you belong and you just dominate at the level that you're on, right? And I feel like I've done that, and I think that's what helped me out, when you go through the process, trying to making it to wherever you're trying to be. So, I
And
mean,
I think that's
it's a lot of
something.
hard work. I mean, you have to be like dedicated. You have to work hard. I mean, the general stuff, but how many guys, actually take that to the next level? Like you have to sacrifice some things, But I mean, I was okay with it. So I think my hard work, knowledge from the game, and being a great teammate, great leader, that would, I think that kept me around, still playing. So I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think that's something that some guys don't really notice about. Like, it's more the player makes the school than the school makes the player.
Yeah.
Because like if you're even in D2, I was talking to Andrew Jamil. I did an article on him. He's actually doing the fan controlled football league right now, the new league
Yeah.
that they just started up. And he actually played at Stonehill College in the Division 2 level, and he had like 18 catches in 4 different games, and he put up like big numbers, breaking records. And like just talking to him about like his recruiting process, he had the chance to walk on at UMass, but it wouldn't be a scholarship. But he ended up going to D2 and he shined there, and he had some CFL opportunities, but because of
Yeah.
COVID, they were canceled. But they'll probably be back whenever like COVID's over. And that's just something that some guys don't really notice, just to think about like having like going to a school that they actually want you there versus
Yeah.
like a school that you actually have to walk on and like try to get onto. I think that's something that more guys have to really notice about whenever you're going through your recruiting process. And talking about your recruiting process, going to Sam Houston and obviously before that Kansas State, what were some big offers that you had that you may have not taken that you probably wanted to go to Kansas State instead of?
I was committed to Tulsa. I mean, that's where my older brother went. My older brother went to Tulsa. My younger brother actually went to Tulsa as well. And then at that time, when he came like that fall, I got Kansas State. I got a couple of SEC schools. I just don't feel like saying their names, but I got a couple of SEC schools. I have a couple more Big 12 schools. Pac-12, all of it. I mean, I feel like I had at least one big offer in each class, right? But I just felt like Kansas State is where I wanted to go. I mean, I made that decision on my own, and you live and you learn. You go through the process, and that's where I went.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that a lot of guys look back on whenever they're in the professional league or either they're retired from football. They look back at their first part of their career, like where they went to school and
Yeah.
maybe some opportunities that they could have had. Probably like thinking, if I went there, what could have happened? Or like, if I went there, what could have happened kind of thing. But like you're in the future now, like that's the past. Past is the past. So
Mm.
looking back at obviously the career that you've had going from Kansas State to Sam Houston, what would be some words of advice for kids signing? Obviously, you talked about signing to a school that like actually wants you there, and you can have a good opportunity there, and versus like just taking the big offer. But is there anything else that you would tell a younger athlete, maybe Timothy Flanders back in the day?
I don't regret, like picking K State and transferring. Like I mean, I live with. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with my decision. I don't regret none of that because I think of me personally. I think I go like, all right, well, if I didn't transfer to Sam Houston and go through Sam Houston, like I don't think I would have my son, right? So, you think of it like that for me, but you got to just be patient. You may not play right away like you want to, but just be patient. Be a blue collar athlete, go to work each day, and it'll pay off. Like, don't worry about it. Like you may have to red shirt. That's totally fine. It's gonna be fine. I mean, I know it's hard because you go from playing in high school, you starting high school, you this, you that, and you get to college where it's like, all right, now everybody. If I was the best one on my high school team, if I'm one of six in the high school team, now you have all of you at the college level, right? So then you look at it like that. Then when you go pro, you have vets that's been playing, in the NFL longer than you have since you've been playing little league, high school, college. So what you think they're doing, right? So you have to be dedicated, to your craft and everything. I mean, if you stay patient, work hard, everything will turn out the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and just adding on the point that we were talking about earlier, the small school guys, I almost feel like the CFL is full of like the smaller school guys just because like that's the guys that are really shining like at the professional level because of the success they had at their small school, and just because they may have a small school like offer, they aren't necessarily looked at by the NFL like right away because they're not sure about the talent level they're up against. But that's something that you probably see now in the CFL, and we see a lot of now with guys coming into the CFL. You even have Canadian schools, like you have 7 Canadians on the field at a time or something along the lines of that. So whenever you do come to Ottawa, you're going to be faced with a bunch of guys like yourself that went to smaller schools. And what's your whole mindset going through when you do come to Ottawa? Obviously, you're going to be excited to be on the field again because it's been so long. But is there some certain goals that you have for winning a Grey Cup, or maybe some smaller
Oh
goals
yeah,
like winning the first few games as well?
I mean, I think I just want to win in general. I just want to win. I hope we can get fans in the stands so they can enjoy it as well. But I mean, it's a long season, right? I mean, you want to win every single game. I mean, that's my main thing. I don't care how we win. I mean, as long as you win, everything will be fine. I mean, it's hard to win in the CFL, especially when you're you're playing the team back to back. You may play a team 4 times, right? So you have to come with it. Each game, each practice, and you have to make the most of it. I mean, but going all the way to championship, that's the main thing, right? I mean, regardless of what personal goals are, accolades and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like if it doesn't align with the team success, right? I mean, what type of goal is that? I mean, I get it. We all want, some of us have incentives, right? I mean, you want that. There's nothing wrong with that. But then it's like, all right, is it more about the individual? Or is it more about winning the championship, right? So that's how I feel about that's just me personally about my goals. If my goals don't align with the team's success, I mean, I don't. I mean, you can still have the goal, but you want to win at the end of the day, right? Winning is fun. You play the game to have fun, so you play the game to win. And, once you start losing, that's where all the problems and this and that. You got to hear from this and that, and then I just bring the whole chemistry down, right? So I just want to win, have fun doing it. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy going through camp and going through practice, film, and going through walkthroughs and doing all that stuff. I mean, I just have the love for the game, and that's it, really.
Yeah, and just talking about winning the Grey Cup is obviously the biggest thing here in the CFL. And the last time the CFL had a season, we have the coach that won the Grey Cup with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So we're going to be excited to bring that winning tradition back. We won the Grey Cup in 2016, our third year of existence, and now we have the chance to win it again. I think it's going into our 7th year. So it's going to be exciting for sure. And just a couple last questions for yourself. Winning the Grey Cup is obviously pretty cool, and the fans here in the city of Ottawa would probably go nuts if we won another one, just because of the last time we went out. It was pretty tough to see a 3-15 team go and lose all 15 games that we lost. So having the Grey Cup on our minds right now, what would it be like to obviously go through that whole CFL season in 2021, but ending up winning a Grey Cup just because of the whole long time that it has taken to get to that point?
I think it'd be very special, especially for the fans, like you said. But I think there's guys that's on the roster who have that same goal in mind. That they probably came close to winning the championship or didn't have a chance to win the championship and stuff like that. So you get a group of guys who are all eager to get that one team goal, right? That makes it easier, for guys wanting to be there. And I mean, like I say, you have to sacrifice. I feel like Lapo, he will do a great job of calling plays to our strength, and stuff like that. I mean, we just have to not turn the ball over, right? I mean, that's where it starts. I mean, you don't turn the ball over, you have a better chance of winning. I mean, and then we have to make our plays on the offensive end and help the defense out, stuff like that. Special teams will play a big role, especially in the CFL. Field position is very important, and stuff like that. But I mean, if we take care of our business that we need to, like throughout the week and during practice, and make sure you get that extra film study in and stuff like that, and translate the stuff we work on the practice field to the game, I mean, I think we'll be fine.
And one last question for yourself. Like I mentioned, it's been a long time since you've been on the field, since any CFL player has really been on the field, unless you maybe played in the XFL earlier last year or have been in the NFL at all this year. But looking on to the 2021 season, I've talked to a few guys already about this, and they all talk about how they're going to be super excited to be back on the football field just because it's been so long. And some guys have been hurt as well. And for your case, you didn't even play like a full season the last time you went out there. So it's been well over a year for yourself. since you've played on a football field professionally. So what's it been like, obviously waiting up to the moment that we're going to hopefully come across in June of next year, or this year, and what's it going to be like whenever you're on the field?
It'll be fun, getting a chance to catch up with guys that you've known of and known before, and just you meet the new guys, getting a chance to actually getting to talk to them in person instead of being on opposite ends or opposite sides of the football field right now. Your teammates, I think a lot of guys miss that, just that locker room vibe that you get from the players, right? At the end of the day, it's a bond, and a lot of guys, like you said, they've been hurt. I mean, a lot of guys that was hurt, I mean, they're probably healed all the way up now. I mean, you have to just take it as it is and use it as an advantage. But I mean, when you go through a season with a team and it's like, hey, now it's a lot of guys, you look forward to going to the locker room. Like I said, I mean, it's a bond, it's a vibe. Everybody, just enjoy being around each other. That makes that builds the chemistry. Then it gets taken away due to something we can't control, right? But just like that anticipation of going back and just hanging around with the fellas, and it's probably guys that's probably been with Ottawa their whole career. They get used to going up there. They probably know everybody in the organization, and stuff like that. And you don't get to see those guys like you usually do. But I think it'll be. I think there's some type of excitement for everybody, just to be back.
And I'm pretty excited myself to hopefully watch some CFL football in 2021 for this coming June. And it's going to be exciting
Yeah.
for all CFL fans, really, to be watching some football again. And thanks again for talking with me, Tim, today. And I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, the next time I see you is on a football field, and maybe interviewing you after a practice, or maybe even after a game. So, our nation, thanks a lot for watching this, and stay tuned for more.